Good morning, happy Saturday, and happy Valentine's Day, everyone, of all days that we are doing this on. So, some people are couples, others get to, or lucky and get to have threesomes. Meanwhile, I'm called handsome for a reason. Let's just put it at that.
Merry happily single day, everybody.
Yep,
Yay!
it is I, as always, your wonderful host, the Ultra American TTRPGer, aka the Jim Jones of Classic Gaming, and now aka everyone's favorite Aryan Tiefling. And I am always enjoyed and accompanied by my wonderful co-hosts. We got the great Warhammer miniature guy himself, Duskwill. We got the big boss dwarf, the OSR dwarf, and then we got the one who is all too familiar with Star Trek, Mark Hockman himself as well.
Hello.
I like how you call me the Warhammer miniature man, even though I haven't collected miniatures since I was a kid.
It's like I was trying to think at the top of my head, and I was thinking like, oh, that looks like a Warhammer miniature, so that's where that pulled out from. So I just kind of pulled that down my ass.
Well, I mean, oh god damn, the dog's barking again. I mean, I guess it's fair enough. This is my League of Votan OC for Warhammer, so you know.
Yep. And so, how was everyone's week? Anyone get any gaming in or anything else exciting happen?
I'm finally going to be getting my car on Monday.
So I think I have a game tomorrow afternoon. I've kind of taken a break from my Saturday afternoon game for this weekend because it was such a busy week. We did do a third session of the Patrolman last week. It's pretty cool. And we'll be doing a session of Mutant Future again come up the next weekend. So, yeah, getting some gaming in. It's just one of those things. It's like when you start running, you start having to do a little bit more prep. And yeah, I know all about the zero prep thing. I don't do zero prep well. So, it takes a little prep.
I'm practically a zero prep GM. I prep for like session 0 and what the game I want to be, and then I say in between sessions I'm going to be prepping some stuff, but then I procrastinate, never do, and then I gotta improv.
I'm the kind of guy who likes the idea of doing prep by, make a bunch of characters that you might use later, maybe, possibly, and then find out at some point whether you actually use them.
Yeah, I'm basically a no prep guy myself. Like if you listen to how I run Curse of Strahd on the Rustic Roller channel, it's me constantly flipping through the book to find stuff.
Well, I mean, we kind of experienced it a little bit with Flushed Out, so I mean.
But speaking of RPGs, because this is something that this is gonna, it's like I'm thinking about I'm thinking about doing like Ultra Americans ultra takes, just like my most like whatever opinion I have about TTRPGs or something. And
It's just going to be your hot take segment.
something like that. But it's like I don't know. It's something I've been just thinking about in the back burner. But so so one thing I have been doing that I forgot to keep mentioning on the show was I have been listening to Critical Role's campaign 4, which is now being currently led by Brennan Lee Mulligan, just for the content, just to see how it's going. And they finally, freaking thank God, switched it around the cast of characters to a new group because they have, I think, like 12, 15 people, I think, in the game overall, but they're spread out between 3 or 4 different groups. And they said it was supposed to be a quote unquote West Marches style campaign. But except they kept focused, except for like when they first started, they had everyone together for like a few episodes, and then they focused on one group for like the next 5 sessions before finally moving around to another one, with maybe some openings here and there, focusing on like some other characters that are in the world. So it really is not a West Marches style campaign like they try to promote it as. It's still very much episodic, and they're just kind of doing what they want.
That sounds yeah.
Yeah, it's not actual authentic West Marches at all.
I mean, given who's doing it, I wasn't really expecting much.
Because
most people don't. Yeah, go ahead. Most people just don't do West Marches. They don't really know what it is. They talk about it.
Now
but they don't know what it is.
There is.
It's a thing.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Duskwell. What were we going to say?
I'm saying They just know what it is, know what it does.
Yeah, I know. Like on Drive to RPG, someone created like a whole like West Marches style playbook thing that's supposed to like be able to teach you like how to properly run the West Marches. And I remember getting it a while back. I just haven't had the time to read through it yet, so I need to read through that and see how like accurate it is. Because my idea of a West March style, it's just like it's like I think you definitely would have to incur 1-to-1 time to happen, and then everyone just can kind of just pop in and out as they wish. Because that's what if you go to when I was part of the Pirate Borg server, that's every summer they would have a Pirate Borg West Marches campaign that would be going on. So multiple games we ran, people could pop in and out whenever they choose to.
Well, I mean, like my understanding with West March is that to a certain point, it's a matter of why that you need to think about, because like the reason why you have like who people popping in and out is because like, oh, X person can't be here today, uh so he's not going to be playing, and thus his character is going to be out of the game. And it was that sort of logic which dictates who is playing. So a lot of the time, in old school West Marches, it's just we have 20 people who are interested in playing. Well, these are the handful of people that actually showed up today.
Yeah, and then so I don't know what it's been going on right now, but a lot of the older guys I hang out with, the big thing that everyone's talking about now is 4D role playing, which, to my understanding, 4D role playing is basically you're like in character the entire time. You do not break from it for any reason. And so, and then I'm listening to people talk about it. I'm thinking about it, and then I was in a game. I joined a Star Wars 5e campaign for a short while, and then the guy ended up kicking me out because he said it's like if we have like some criticisms or stuff that we want to share, go ahead and share them. And then I shared mine, and then he promptly kicked me from the game because basically he was doing this thing where it was like he would take like 30 minutes just to describe like the scenery that we were walking through. He'd constantly get on to us. We were trying to ask questions if we could remember something. And then I realized this. Now I understand why I don't like 4D role playing, because that's literally the critical role effect under a different name. That's all it is.
No.
It's like I want to play a game, not reenact a play.
Yeah, I think there's a significant difference between collaborative narrative and role playing games. In role playing games, narrative arises from play.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's the natural result
Yeah.
of your characters doing things. Your characters are what they do. In so-called 4D or narrative role play, what you're really doing is collaborative fiction. It's more like improvisation, which is why I can see YouTubers and other streamers who have acting or voice acting backgrounds naturally gravitating towards that way of playing. Of course they do. It's all over YouTube, man.
Yeah, Daniel Price said exactly what I was thinking, is that it's people being theater kids for however long, and then eventually they get done with it. It's just like, because like if your goal is to just like have fun playing a character in the theater kid way, I mean, sure, go for that. But also that's really not D&D. That's not how D&D actually
D&D
works
is
from a
actually a game.
mechanical basis. It's like there's a mechanical game to it, not just, pure role play.
I mean, it doesn't mean you can't be creative, doesn't mean you can't be fun, and it doesn't mean there isn't a narrative, but the narrative arises from the play. It's not something where you basically have more or less a script, and what you're really doing is interactive, collaborative theater. And let me make something clear for anybody who's watching this. Don't be a faggot. I'm not saying you're doing something bad. If you guys are having fun, do it. But don't confuse it with tabletop role-playing games. It's not the same thing.
I mean, I never shy away from telling people they're playing a game wrong. Because that is a thing that could objectively happen.
Yeah, but I mean, by all means, let them do their narrative. I don't care. Let them do it.
So,
and this is coming from someone who enjoys role playing more than combat and tabletop role playing is, because honestly, game creators and GMs nowadays really can't do combat that well. It just winds up being a boring slog.
Mhm.
Waiting like 15 minutes for my turn to beat a thing.
Well, that was the genius of what Rob Kuntz calls the fourth style of game, is that it does incorporate narrative elements that come out of play, but it's not collaborative theater. It's not collaborative fiction. It's a game, but it's a game that has elements that allow people to put them into place, put themselves through. They can interact with the world through their characters, and this you create something that has a different definition of winning and a different approach to how the game goes.
Well,
It's not necessarily competitive in the same way, say, that a war game is. It's collaborative, but it's still a game.
because like it's not PvP, it's PvE, but you have a group of people. So
You might end up with PvP, but if it happens, it's likely going to
Yeah.
result in bad things for the person
I
who
did
starts
have
it.
that. I actually have had that come up in a game because someone had a idea to like as a way to partially incapacitate the party. You basically had the boss mind control certain party members. So, like, what we're actually doing is trying to kill the boss monster, but we have mind controlled party members who are acting as an obstacle to us killing the boss monster. So that ended
Yes.
up being kind of sort of like PvP, even though it's not really the goal of the game.
Well, that happened in my last Final Frontier game session with Miguel Runt. Um, basically, the monster, such as it was we had located a biological lab. People can see the stream on the Red Room channel, but it was session 5, and so I have this character who's basically a street bruiser, right? He's the heavy in the party, and unfortunately, he's an easy target for mental attacks. And so the next thing you know, he's being told to do things that are going to bring him into conflict with the party. Fortunately, I started rolling poorly, and other party members were able to get me under control, and we survived anyway. But yeah, that's not quite PvP though. That's just the result of game mechanics. Real PvP is when, quite frankly, people are kind of. It's like what you see on like the
I mean, it's like
World of Warcraft servers. You see that stuff where you have people literally camping out so that they can kill other players in the game.
or like playing a game like Marvel Rivals, where it's like Team A versus Team B, and both of them are actually like human players.
Yeah.
But like,
Then it starts to feel more like a war game, kind of like Warhammer 40K or something
yeah,
like that.
but like the
Mhm.
incident we had there, I actually ended up like using telekinesis to fling one of the other players' characters at the boss monster because of the fact that this particular player character's mind control had taken the form of attempting to disarm us by eating our weapons. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to try to kill you. I am, however, going to violently relocate you to the other side of the room.
Yeah. And so when I was playing that Star Wars game for a short while, I think I made it like 3 or 4 sessions, I think. And it was because we were playing like Old Republic times. It was a Sith campaign. We were trying to make our way to the Sith Academy on Korriban. And everyone wanted to go off and do all these things. And I'm like, guys, we are literally not that far away from the temple. We can get there. And they're trying to do all this acting out stuff and doing all this pointless monologue of what the rock face looks like and the foliage. I'm just like, dude, no one wants to listen to this.
Mhm.
On the opposite end of that, though, I've had things where in 3 different ongoing games I take part in, where it's always the same people, always kind of hogging the spotlight, and everyone else just kind of sits back and just lets everything happen. And this is when I was thinking about this, and because especially in one game there's one player that definitely gives off like main character syndrome vibes.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was thinking about it, this is one thing that Powered by the Apocalypse it was something I took from Powered by the Apocalypse. I'm able to install in all my games when I run them now. Is the idea that everyone gets an equal amount of time in the spotlight. No one hogs it all unless you're doing something specific with that one person.
I do think that in many games you'll find situations where you have some people who just naturally are more forward in the role play and other people who are just kind of hanging back. But yeah, I mean, there's no question everybody should be in the game.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where it's like I would love to be able to interact, but as soon as I try to speak, it's like the three other people start talking over each other, wanting to do things. So at that point, like when I was in a game on Thursday evening, I just sat and listened the entire time. I barely did much unless it was like my turn to do something, because it was the same three guys constantly yapping and trying to do stuff.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
This is one of those things where it's like it's the whole like as a GM, sometimes you really kind of need to enforce the idea of taking turns. Like, okay, so we've heard from you now. What is X doing? And just like point to whoever hasn't said anything in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, because like I said, it's like it's like you're not putting on a play, and you're not, and no one is the main character of the game. Everyone is a player at the table, and GM controls all.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other thing I don't like. That's the other thing about 4D role playing is I guess 4D role playing is also supposed to make the game more player driven, which I completely disagree with. Players should be able to have free will with their characters and choices they make, but they should not be able to drive the campaign or the world. That should be completely GM discretion.
Yeah, guided narrative is the better way of going about it. If you do it completely sandbox, that game is not going to last long because no one's going to know what the hell to do with no direction.
I think sandbox is the best way. That way, there's no story, and then it's like with the players' choices. I, as a GM, can come up with what they will do, what they'll end up doing next. So I kind of prefer almost a sandbox style
Because
play.
like you can take the whole like hex crawl thing and just like take that like and fully run with it as part as a sandbox thing, but you're not going to have an overall narrative. You're going to have to like kind of sort of make up something as you go along instead of like actually having a big bad with a story. You're just doing stuff, which honestly some people might like. So, you know.
True sandbox typically just tires me after a while because I don't get any sense that it's going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then listen to this. The same player in that Thursday night game I'm in that said that gives up the main character syndrome vibes. When we were doing EXP, he was not keeping track, and he's like, I can't keep track of all that stuff. It's all the numbers, and I had to bite my tongue just to be able to speak up like a good player keeps track of their shit.
Yeah, it's like not everybody's meant to play every kind of game. You know, the whole XP and tracking aspect is something that I think a lot of people found really irritating about old style D&D, especially in AD&D Second Edition. By the time you get through with the multiple different versions of XP and tracking or not tracking or partially tracking encumbrance and keeping track of, you know, non-weapon proficiencies if you choose to use weapon proficiencies and all that kind of stuff. I think people, and also of course keeping track of treasure. I think eventually people kind of start to feel like they're better off having like an Excel spreadsheet.
There's the reason why a lot of people decided that they would rather do milestone based level gains over actually trying to uh enumerate how much XP you got per monster.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Milestone can very be easily abused though if you're not watching like how the players are doing their stuff. Like XP, I don't mind XP, but if you have like a session without like any combat or adventuring, yeah, it takes a long time for you to level up.
Well,
In my
but one aspect with the milestone thing is, do the players know when the milestone will get here? No. The GM is who decides when they get to a milestone. So if the players are literally just staring at the walls for 30 minutes, then well, I guess they're not making progress.
Yeah,
Mm.
like in my Crystal Strahd game, again on Rustic Rollers channel, we're doing milestone, but I decide when I think they've earned that milestone level up. Not I don't go by what the book tells me.
Well, I mean, the book is a suggestion at best, so
Yeah. And then
I also find milestone helps curb murder hoboing.
yeah, that's also very true. And then what was I just thinking about? I had a thought and I lost it.
And then I go into Baldur's Gate 3 or Divinity and I just murder hobo everything for XP and money.
Yeah. Well,
This is the reason why
that's
a lot of video games just don't let you kill everyone. It's like, oh, this is a friendly NPC, therefore you're not allowed to kill them, and the game
well, and
physically won't let you.
yeah, because it would break the game. So yeah, I think that's of course the real limitation, even of very good quality computer role playing games. Right? Is that at the end of the day, it's still a computer game.
I
It
mean,
you
well,
can't
Well,
go ahead.
Bethesda's so shitty. They make NPCs you want to kill unkillable.
Of course. But that's the thing. It's like in Fallout 1 and Fallout 2, you could kill pretty much anybody. You could also end up, locking yourself in an unwinnable situation in the game, but they didn't keep you from killing people. But this is the limitation with the computer versus having people playing games together.
Well, that's actually a thing with Fallout, though, is that Fallout being such an open-ended game, the concept of winning doesn't necessarily have as much weight as it would in certain other games. Because, like, there's
True.
a whole bunch of things you can do in Fallout that are mutually exclusive. Because, like, you complete this one storyline. Well, by completing that storyline, you have ensured that this other faction is unable to give you a different storyline quest because storyline A involves killing them.
I
And
I remember love. I remember remembering loving that message you get from Morrowind if you killed an essential NPC, because in Morrowind they can be killed. It's like with this character's death, the thread of prophecy is severed. Restore a safe game to restore the weave of fate, or persist in the doomed world you have created.
Yeah, that was one of those where it's like that only came up for things that are like main story plot because it had a specific main story plot. And yeah, that was a thing. Cuz like it didn't do the whole like essential NPC thing, but also it's like I've heard some people had issues with that because of the fact that apparently sometimes that would pop up as a side effect of something that you didn't think was going to have that effect. Because, like, it wasn't necessarily because you killed them. It could be because an NPC killed them.
Hmm.
Like, if you have, like, say you're fighting, for, enemies, and, those enemies happen to also be next to an essential NPC. Well, while you're fighting that group of enemies, the group of enemies might kill the essential NPC.
I never really had that problem before.
It's something that I've heard happen. I'm not someone who's ever played that game, but I've heard that that sort of thing could come up, and one guy who was talking with me about it's like uh realized like an hour later that an essential NPC had been killed by looking it up online because of the fact that he didn't notice the message because he was, busy fighting bad guys when the message popped up. So that kind of thing, eh, it can go badly. But it's like even in that case, though, it's like that game encourages you to have multiple save points just in case. And in his case, like, okay, I lost an hour of game time, which is unfortunate and annoying, but didn't completely have to restart the game.
Speaking of games, let's talk about the current topic of the worst games to ever probably hit the market: High Guard and Reloaded.
Oh dear.
So High Guard was supposed to be the newest innovation to first-person like multiplayer shooters, but and as soon as it came out the gate, like a lot of people played it, and then it just died off. It was dead on arrival right after that.
Well, one of my thoughts with it is that the description of the way they do the whole thing of like base versus base PvP. My first thought is like, okay, so it's basically that one game mode out of Smite, but as the entire game. Okay. And you're telling me this is new and original when it's just the same thing that Smite already did. Thing is, though, is that the main difference is, of course, the world building completely different, the game engine completely different. Because Smite isn't actually a true hero shooter. It's a point and click action game, but it's not a hero shooter because you're not doing anything in from a 3D perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've heard no one was really a fan of the 3v3 matches because they've been put on such big maps, so you're walking around for like finding no one. No one was really a big fan of all the quests. They apparently was described as they tried to make something for everyone, and then it became liked by no one in the process.
I mean, because like a Smite actually has a lot of that kitchen sink gameplay too. It's just that in Smite, you don't have to do all of the kitchen sink stuff. You can kind of sort of like skip certain parts of it. Because like in Smite, the some different maps work differently in Smite, but like one of the maps in Smite, you will have this like side objective where you kill an NPC so your team gets a buff because they killed that NPC.
Hmm.
But also it's like you have the idea of like collecting resources to buy upgrades. Thing is that the upgrades, while they will give you an advantage in combat, it's not as major a deal as in High Guard, where you you're actually buying an improved weapon, like upgrading your weapon in Fortnite. It's like Smite didn't go that far with it. It you choose upgrades and so that'll benefit your character style, but it's small boosts, not changing how your character plays. Which is the other thing is that High Guard apparently has like innate character abilities that you use far less often than just shooting people with a gun. And it's a random gun that you looted out of a treasure chest.
Hmm.
And like Smite always had like character abilities that you like that were the majority of combat is the character abilities that they had set up for each of the various characters in the game.
Yeah, and then if you look at Reloaded, which is legit one of the most racist games probably ever played, like legit racist, not leftist version of racism, like actually racist. It is literally about black people robbing a museum.
Uh,
Uh,
I actually watched Asmongold's play of it, and he's like, you know what? I'm not going to critique the story of the game all that much. I'm going to talk about the fact that the game is crap.
I also love the the idea of the story where it's a bunch of supposedly Africans. They're probably fucking African British or African, just probably just black British or black Americans. They're not really African, but they're going to museums to steal African artifacts and bring it back to Africa, and I'm just here like, so y'all want to take these artifacts that have been preserved and used for educational purposes in a white country and send it back to its country of origin to either be destroyed or given to someone that would just sell that artifact back to the museum like they did the first time.
Precisely.
It's like modern day Africa really isn't big on cultural artifacts. Certain countries in Africa would actually just like put it in a museum and keep it, but the majority of them aren't interested in that stuff because it's like in some cases it actually represents a aspect of their history that they literally don't care about because it's the past and they didn't actually like it in the first place.
It's like that one time I watched this it was like back when I first became an atheist. I was looking at like religious videos because I was just into watching like a bunch of different videos about religion. And there's one video that was talking about like praising this kid in some fuck yourself a stand country fucking somewhere in the world, and about how it was like a proud child of God that all Christians should appreciate and respect and all that other stuff for finding this artifact that has some ancient writings on it on like a clay tablet or something that was like integral to figure out some niche part of the Bible. And the guy was like telling the story about how the kid like was like just spelunking in a cave, found the thing, showed it to his dad, and then his dad sold it to some European scholar. I'm like, how is this kid like God's soldier and like teaching the world God's word if he literally did not give enough of a shit? They just gave it to his dad. His dad didn't give enough of a shit. They just sold it to like some white guy for like string cheese. Well, what are we doing here?
Yeah, it's like one thing that several people pointed out to me is that doing God's will doesn't necessarily mean you have the goal of being a righteous individual. In some cases, it means that, you know, this is what God wanted to happen, and you just happen to be the person who did it, even though you didn't know anything at
Or
all about what's going
even
on.
Or
really
Nebuchadnezzar. Perfect example, Nebuchadnezzar. So Nebuchadnezzar was not praiseworthy because he did what was God's will in the situation. He ended up eating grass for 7 years, right? That's not a guy who's being blessed. But
it's like
the Bible is full of people like that. You know, it's like
Yeah.
you see the same thing with Pharaoh in the story of the Exodus. Pharaoh is doing God's will in the sense that he is giving the opportunity to demonstrate God's greatness to the people he has adopted for himself. And also coincidentally, he eventually drives them out of the land, so God then doesn't have to worry about them trying to go back. But the Bible is full of stuff like that. Doing God's will is not necessarily the same as being in a good place, because it may be that you're a bad person being made to do God's will, and it's not to your benefit.
The point of me like the point of me like showcasing that particular anecdote was to sort of describe like what everyone in the West, including black people, is like superimposing their own like view of importance on cultural artifacts on people that really honestly don't give a shit.
It's true.
Well,
It's
see,
true.
one thing someone pointed out to me about a lot of historical relics is that the reality with a lot of them is that the fact that they are old and surviving from a time period that most things didn't survive from is the only reason they're of any value whatsoever. It's
Yeah.
like it's like with like Ming vases. It's that Ming vases are something that's like kind of like a stereotypical thing where you know, there's however many hundred or thousand of them that were made. It's like if they weren't old, no one would care because realistically, Ming vases, while you know, good quality stuff, aren't special. there's nothing truly unique about them. They're just good quality merchandise that
Well,
is
it's yeah.
associated with a famous person because he happened to be the guy who was the ruler at the time they were made, and that was it.
It's like being a wine connoisseur. Think about it. Wine is something to be drunk. But you
Yeah.
have people who will collect like 150-year-old bottles of something that was made of by some chateau in France,
Hmm.
and they don't even know if it's turned to vinegar or not,
Yep, but
because they won't
that's
open the bottle because the bottle's worth $50,000 or something.
yeah, but it's like you can't drink it, otherwise the value is gone.
And
Exactly.
it's like at the end of the day,
Exactly.
it's like at the end of the day, we're like looking at people that still have like the more, I guess for lack of a term, more practical mindset where they like look at something that could be classified as an ancient artifact or a cultural artifact. And it's like, can I eat this? No. Can I make shells out of this? No. Can I fuck this? No.
Well, like
Can I
that's actually
can I sell this to this random white guy foreigner for like $10? Okay, now it's got a purpose.
yeah, because like one thing someone pointed out to me is that there's certain important cultural artifacts that are like considered to be rare finds that were important to understanding an ancient civilization were found because some guy building a house took them and just made them part of the wall in his house.
Oh
That's
yeah,
the only.
that was like a, well, was that like the Rosetta Stone with Napoleon?
I don't remember that one, but well, okay, a lot of Egyptian stuff is kind of sort of like that, where like modern day people, it's there and they kind of sort of like live around it, and like they know it's old, but and they don't have a desire to get rid of it. They also don't really care about it, and so it's like they're not going to try to break it, but if something does happen, oops.
And I just love how, like, to go back and how I like reloot it. We got a game that's all about returning these cultural artifacts to their culture of origin, while we're talking about how people from the culture of origin don't really give a shit about the artifacts. But also when we have loads upon loads upon loads of videos of cultural sites and cultural artifacts being destroyed in China and in Middle East with the Muslims, because it's not Muhammad or Allah, so it's absolutely heretical.
I actually saw a series of videos about that recently that are interesting because have you ever read the 1001 Arabian Nights?
No, but I've saw the movie based off of it, and I've heard a lot about snippets from the book.
Okay, so it's Arabian mythology, right?
Hmm.
Is it Muslim?
No, but just because something's Arabic doesn't mean it's Muslim, but it's.
But what I'm getting at with this though is that it represents what the culture of that region was like before the Muslims tried to take over.
Mhm.
Because like that's a thing with Muslims is they are cultural vandals on a scale that the world has never seen before. It's like
Mhm.
one thing a lot of people have pointed out is that the Muslims didn't build Kaaba. They took it
No.
over from someone else. We're
Yeah.
not actually sure who, because the Muslims killed them and methodically erased any trace of their culture other than the actual building itself. But like that's just what they do. And but it also means is that like most of the stuff that is associated with Muslims now,
Most likely they stolen it and claimed it.
yeah,
Yeah.
because like
Well,
as I've said before, it's like Muslims are basically what you get if you have a lawful evil culture in real life.
well, speaking of blacks and racism, on the other hand,
Well,
by the segue
that's
on that regard.
that's a perfect segue.
Are we back to talking about niggas again?
Oh Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, Ozar Dwarf.
Yeah.
It's like don't.
I
It's like I want to keep
said
my
it with
channel.
an A. I said it with an A. A is legitimate. I didn't use the hard R yet.
All right,
Yeah.
careful though.
Just
All right.
just start reenacting the scene from the Boondocks, which was also based off of an actual news segment.
If we're gonna do this, we gotta do the old Uncle Request. It's like I tell you, these dirty Negroes out here hosting their own VTuber award show these days. Gotta do it with the Uncle Ruckus voice.
Oh, I couldn't do the Uncle Ruckus voice. We should find someone who can, though.
Yeah. Oh, that's what we need, like an AI Uncle Ruckus or something. That would be hysterical.
Exactly. Maybe maybe Open Claw can do it for us. I don't know.
But I kid you not, though. For some
Can't
reason,
quite do Uncle Ruckus. I can get kind of close, but there's one cartoon character I can do perfectly is freaking Murderface from Metalocalypse.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Blood Rock You Dead. Blood Rock You Dead. I used to love that band. Anyways, but there was quite literally was a Black VTuber award show to recognize. Hold on, let me pull up this post here on my end. Yeah. It's coming on. They're doing nominations and all that, and it's coming up on Juneteenth to celebrate the talented excellence of Black VTubers.
It's almost becoming like a meme now.
Oh god, they actually have their own website.
Yeah. Now here's things I know about. Apparently, this was done once before that I came across, and it ended up with the Black people just racially slurring each other the entire time. The majority of the people that are apparently on the VTubers that are also on staff for this award show are also have also been known to spew racist and vile shit as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then like literally, this is what I've been saying. This is saying that Black people need their own award show of any kind. It's no different than when this country used to say Black people should have their own restrooms. I see no different.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But
every time I hear,
I just want to know when dwarves are going to get their turn.
Well, one of the
I know,
things
right?
The beards are beautiful, guys. Beards are beautiful. Come on.
But one of the
beard lives matter.
One of the things that they have pointed out on several occasions about the modern day version of I guess you could say Black
Black excellence or something like that. Is that what we're going to look for?
Excellence.
Promotion.
Yeah.
Is that a key aspect of the whole Black Lives Matter and all of that nonsense is that you're encouraging the Black people to self-segregate from the rest of society and not actually, try
Properly integrate.
to be part of society where they see themselves as separate and different and unwelcome, and that they are treating themselves as cultural pariahs and choosing to live like that.
Well, I mean, that's just the case with just the Black community in general. And no, there is a difference between Black people and the Black community. Black community is one of the worst things to have ever come out for Black people.
But what I'm getting at, though,
the thing is that they have, if the Black community was a religion, their idol of worship would be the state of the fact that they are perpetual victims and are social pariahs. They get all of their status, all of their benefits, all of their everything that makes them who they are through their self-victimization.
But I was getting at with this, though, is that they have civil rights activists telling them to live that way because of the fact that these civil rights activists need to encourage them to self-segregate, or the civil rights activists wouldn't have anyone to fleece for money.
Yeah.
I'm going to quote Chris Rock on this. So YouTube, don't try to strike me on this, because I'm literally quoting an African American man. There's Black people, then there's niggas, and niggas in this planet keep fucking everything up.
Every time I
Well-
keep hearing about like literally black only anything, I always keep getting reminded of the MLK speech from the
Mhm.
Boondocks, where he
Mhm.
just goes,
Oh.
"Black entertainment television is the worst thing I have ever seen."
Yeah,
Well, you know,
and then,
it's like self-segregation. Why is it happening? Because you constantly hear about underrepresentation. Well,
so
the
go ahead, finish
reality
your thought.
is you're telling people you have people who are basically admitting they can't compete.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
can't
That's
come
what
up
it
with their
comes
own
down.
ideas.
Well, that is actually one thing that I've heard talked about a lot lately is the racism of low expectations, where you degrade an entire society by trying to canonize the fact that they need special treatment in order to be able to survive as a society, and that if they had to do it on their own, they would be unable to do so. It's like, wait a second. What did you just tell me about what you think of an entire uh, ethnic group if you think they need special treatment in order to
So
be functional?
Well,
ah,
and if they like the point of like the representation thing, and then and it kind of leads into the, like now we got this epidemic of the X-coded character phenomenon.
yeah,
Like,
and
and when it comes to like black coded specifically, we have stuff like, oh, Piccolo is black coded, despite the fact he's a green slug alien man and wears more like Indian wear, or like Knuckles is black coded, even though he's quite literally canonized as a Mesoamerican.
Yeah,
yeah,
and also
and
that they'll do this with any characters that have even remotely dark skin that are in fact like human, because of the fact that if the character doesn't have an explicitly stated ethnic origin and has like even slightly dark skin, they'll be like, oh, it's obviously a black
Oh yeah.
character. So,
Oh yeah,
it's
that's
like,
like a
that's why
huge problem with like anime and manga where any character's like dark skinned is a black guy when no, they're either like Hispanic or Latino in some way, or they're an islander.
okay, guys, you gotta let some other people speak. It's just been you two going back and forth for like 5 minutes now.
Sorry.
okay.
But to talk on that, because you are right. This is why the whole Miles Morales got so people got so fatigued by Miles Morales, because everyone was going like, "We got our Spider-Man." Like, no, that's Miles Morales. Peter Parker is Spider-Man. That is how it's always been. So that was the other thing.
Yeah, because
And
like, and it was for like a racist reason. People were like that. It's like, no, Miles Morales is a legitimate character. He should have his own identity, not tied to Peter Parker with Spider-Man.
Because Peter Parker is Spider-Man, Miles Morales is Miles Morales.
yes,
And like,
and
if he
then-
had his own superhero name, then sure, you can call him that. But no, he goes by Spider-Man too. But like, we can't do that because that's already claimed by Peter Parker. So he's
Call
just
him the Brown
Miles Morales.
Recluse.
oh god,
Are you
Yeah,
saying that? Are you saying that because he's half Hispanic?
you can't call him. You
Yeah,
can't
I
call
was
him
saying
Black
that
Widow
because he's
that's
one of the
already
brown
taken.
people from south of the border.
I,
Yes.
I feel the need to remind you that Marvel Comics does in fact have a character named the Black Tarantula.
The Black Tarantula.
There you
Yeah.
go.
That's actually not too bad. That just sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, and then all these same people
but
are trying
I
to.
will take credit away from. I said I was going to take credit away from Marvel because they made Miles Morales a black guy with lightning powers. So you know,
Isn't that? Oh yeah, because that's
'Cause,
like
you know,
a weird
if
trope
you-
thing.
if you're
If all the
black-
black people have lightning powers.
it's either speed or lightning powers or both.
Yeah,
So
and then
here's the
like,
thing about
Always like-
hold on, let me share this thought, because this was also something I wanted to point out really quick before I get to the next part of this conversation. Because I'm like Billy Mays here, but wait, there's more. But no, the people that were supporting these wars were trying to say like how racist all these apparently the current VTuber wars that we already have exist are. Yet the person who's the most popular and has also won many awards is Iron Mouse, who is Puerto Rican.
yes.
Yep.
And who's
But,
apparently
yeah.
pretty based.
Oh, very much
Oh, yeah.
based.
She is.
Yeah. I've really only been getting into the based VTubers here recently. largely because I only found out about some of them because of Skybrowse and the AI videos Skybrowse is putting out. And it's like all these people who are based VTubers are like being called out and referenced in his videos. And it's like I'm looking at these people, it's like I had no idea these people existed, like Nuxanor. I didn't know.
Don't. I'm not a huge fan of Nux, but you should definitely look into
That's
Leaflet.
definitely a mixed bag.
You should never look into Leaflet, who's also a based VTuber, based woman, which is even more rare. But she also is making her own indie tabletop game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, because
Yeah.
I actually am part of that Discord server where she made the channel, and so I follow Leaflet. Rev Says to Sue is another one because Rev Says to Sue is he's mostly a commentary channel where he talks about all the stuff going on in like these faces and video games and other stuff as well. His wife, Darling Straub, she's also really great. There's a bunch of like indies I've started to get to know too. My favorite one currently is a dragon woman named Cinevere, and I found her just through mutuals because and all that. And part of like why Rustic Roller started popular is it was just a bunch of VTubers getting together and playing D&D. So that's why I ended up that's why I started using the PNG that I'm going now. But okay, it's literally kind of going off topic here for a second. But the reason why I'm going more the PNG tuber route now is kind of like the same reason I got so involved in the TTRPG space in the first place as the Ultra Mega TTRPGer. I saw what it's like. I was just in it, minding my own business, having fun. People started shoving the politics into it. I say we shouldn't do that, and then I got criticized and slandered for it. So that's why I doubled down and just became I'm the Ultra Mega TTRPG. I'm basically becoming the thing you say I am.
Mm-hmm.
And then this the idea of being the Aryan, the Aryan Tiefling, as I call him, is just kind of that concept of basically being because like the majority of people on the right side in the hobby hate Tieflings with a passion, regardless of any reason, and then the left side hate anything American coded. So that's why I created that's why the outfit is of my character as an American Revolutionary soldier with blonde hair and blue eyes and like the whitest skin imaginable.
Well, I mean, bear in mind you're also going completely against type because most tiefling stuff you see out there is fag coded. So
Also very true indeed. Yeah.
there's a lot of gay there. So you're turning it on its head. Kudos.
I do have
actual proper usage of subversion. Way to go.
Now, I do have a
Seize the
character.
meme! Seize it!
I do have a tiefling character I made at one point that was supposed to be for a game, and he was red. He was red, but how I was flavoring that was he was a dragon blood sorcerer. So whatever the dragon that his blood came from, that was colored his skin. So if he was a blue dragon bloodline sorcerer, he would have had blue skin. If he was a if he was a green dragon bloodline sorcerer, he'd be a green skin tiefling. That's how I was working on that.
I also made a tiefling character as a Mephistopheles tiefling paladin, and I will admit I unabashedly combined like two characters from Freer in order to make the guy.
Yeah.
There's I'm not even going to deny it. He is obviously a fan make of Old Man Vol and Himmel from Freerin.
Yeah. So, but there's also I've been interacting with a new person on X now. I think it's a she because of the character that she portrays. It's a blue skin sorcerer warlock tiefling, not sorcerer warlock, bard warlock tiefling, but she is almost in alignment with a lot of stuff that I share and agree with. Like when she's all like, she's like, I like playing this, but the right people on the right don't like me. But because I don't believe in what the left believes, they don't like me either.
Right.
Well, that's one of those things with the modern climate is that you have this one group of people who took over a political party and are trying to force the political party to be maximum degeneracy. And most of society just doesn't like that. I mean, like they try to lie to people and force people to play along with their maximum degeneracy, but people are just like, no.
And I feel like the average American can go, drugs, sex, and rock and roll is great and all, and I like to dabble into that, but I don't want the country ran on that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, did you all see the post that I quoted from that fucker Alchemic Raker when he tried to dog on me when I called him out?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Like, literally, like, okay, is there a lot of gooners on X? Yes. but I'm not on the complete side of like we should ban that stuff entirely. I think as long as it's legal and not breaking any laws, it's fine, in my opinion.
Well,
That's how I view that. So
that's-
hold on, let me finish my thought first, Mark.
Dude, he spends all his time huffing Jethro's digit. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
Alchemic Raker is a complete asshole. I don't care about his politics because he's a dick.
yeah, but anyways, and then he was trying to say like LARPing as a demon, even though like technically, I would argue Tiefling certainly aren't demons that much, but I mean it's up to interpretation at that point, depending on the game you're playing and all that. And then
Mhm.
like I'm not Brosar, but I have been labeled Brosar adjacent because there are much more respectful guys from that side of the hobby that will talk to me and have like recognized me as like, hey, it's like we may not agree in play styles or this or that, but you're a cool dude and we respect that. That's why I got
it's
getting
like-
Scuttle for Mike on like almost 2 years ago, talking to
Mhm.
Dunder Moose here and there, playing on Jack McCarthy's Calorath server at the moment. I got guys from the Brosar side that recognize and respect me a lot more than anyone else in Brosar. Hell, I think Jeffro. There was a time when Jeffro was on X. He requoted some of my X posts, and it was just kind of one of those like he was just kind of poking fun of me a little bit. But I think in a way that was kind of his way of showing that he kind of respected me a little bit. That's also up to interpretation, but I always saw him as like he was like a he was like a funny haha guy to me. I never took him that seriously.
It's like the meme of the guy that's straddling the line between the blue side and the red side. Is like, I think both sides have great points, and then the blue guy pushes him to the red side. Red guy catches him. It's like, hey, you okay, man? It's like, yeah, I'm fine. And then the blue guy is like, why are you with the bad guys?
Oh, yep.
That's the
And
meme.
so-
Yep.
I often find myself reminded of the fact that George Washington was quoted as saying that he thought political parties would be the death of democracy because
Oh,
of the
they
fact
are.
that it encourages people to follow the party instead of doing what you actually believe to be right.
Oh yeah, it takes actual governance of the future of the country into just a big elaborate game of red versus blue. That's all American politics is.
I mean,
That's just red versus blue. It's nothing else going on.
It's just one of those things where you look at it and you ask yourself, like, how did this person get elected? Oh, that's right. The DNC chose this person as the candidate so that all of the people who vote blue, no matter who, will vote for someone
Yeah.
that they actually have no reason to respect as a candidate, but it's their party's choice. So they vote for it because the party chose it.
Yeah, we'll get to the top politics topic that we got later on. So, but I want to try to steer us back on topic again with the the Black VTuber Awards thing because again, so on one hand, I believe no segregation. We fought too hard and too long to make sure that segregation was eliminated and that should not be a thing. On the other hand, I also heavily believe in what's good for the gander is good for the goose. So when another VTuber decided to make a white VTuber Awards, basically satirical page, oh, I was all for it. Because someone made it and it got everyone in uproar. So you got both sides like dogging it, praising it, saying like you can't be excited for a Black VTuber Awards, but then dog a white VTuber Awards. There's literally no difference at that point.
Then Asmongold want to do something similar for video gaming.
Yeah, I think, and then there's one VTuber I follow named Powder, who, if you depending on who you talk to, is the most controversial person in VTuber, but I love her. Someone nominated her for the Black VTuber Awards.
Hey, you remember that Amelia meme?
Oh yeah,
the image of Amelia for the Amelia meme is actually one of Powder's VTuber models.
yep.
Yeah.
And so, but I thought it was hysterical because I actually, when they put the Google Doc out to say nominate for your VTubers, there was like the biggest white supremacist VTuber, most racist VTuber.
Is she like Pakistani?
Powder, I honestly do not know. That's a very good question, actually. Because I know I put Kirsch down for like one of them. I think I put her as like the white supremacist one because that's what everyone says she is.
I've heard Powder talking a few times because like I literally only like watched one video that she did on YouTube.
So it says the account is based in the U.S. So, but she could be a Pakistani origin, maybe. I don't know.
The way she talks Yeah, it doesn't sound like someone I would expect to be someone who came from a non-English speaking country.
Mm.
So let's just call it out. So the person who's primarily behind the Onyx thing is Nerlina, and she's a fucking racist. Okay,
Yeah.
she hates white people. So this became very infamous in 2025, right? When she called Kersha, who's white, racist Nazi Mayo moon crickets. Mayo moon crickets is a doubly racist slur against white people. She's been dropped from platforms, dropped from VTuber groups, for instance, for being a racist. Onyx is about black racism. They're racists. It's not
Mhm.
about not getting representation. It's about them hating white people.
I mean, I'm pretty sure right now one of the still most popular VTubers of Ninja Sanji is a rampant and unapologetic anti-white faggot. Actually, that guy just sounds gay as hell.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
I'm sure that's involved as well.
yeah, I don't know. And I bet you they're not going to have I bet you they won't have Mama Akko on, who is literally, I believe, is a black trans VTuber, but is also very much more based than most of the people that would be identify as trans.
No, I mean it's very much about they're black racists, they're gay race communists. This is what they're about, and it's the same old grift. It's the same old grift. This is what the so-called black liberal orthodoxy has been pushing for decades,
Well,
and
I mean,
it's really about playing people so you can make money off them.
it's
We
the
see it
same
all
as
the
the old
time.
black exploitation thing in the film industry. It's like,
Yeah.
watch
Yeah.
our movie because it's a black movie made by black people for black people, and it's just like your movie isn't good.
Half the time
to,
they're
to make
shit.
Oh,
to make matters worse. It's
do not
black
be
racist stereotypes
do
trotted out.
not be talking shit about Black Dynamite in my face. All right.
I was gonna say I love
Hey,
Black
listen,
Dynamite.
listen.
Black
That's
Dynamite
hilarious.
was so
I'm one of
good.
the guys in Grindhouse Red. Don't get me wrong. Black exploitation is part of it. Not so much Sweetback, which was kind of gay.
Now,
But
I'm not saying all of them were crap, but there was a considerable number of them where the only
It-
selling point was it was made by black people.
and then there's also Undercover.
it's actually,
Brothers,
although
that
it was
good
actually
too.
made, it was actually made by Hollywood Jewish producers
Oh, yeah,
to reach out to black people and get their money. I mean, it's like, it's
it
hilarious.
always, every single time.
It was hilarious. But anyway, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, guys. Black exploitation and other groundhouse genres, especially if you're going to like do gaming built around those kind of gonzo themes, can be a lot of fun. But let's be real. It's Onyx is just another. It's just more the same. It's the '90s wants its grift back. It's like, oh, we need black TV and this and that because we aren't represented. No, you need to stop grifting. That's what you need to stop doing. Bill Cosby never had any problem getting white people to watch his show. Let's just be frank,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
He never had any problem.
I remember
with it.
seeing. I remember when I used to be with my ex fiance, we would visit her dad. He would have on like one of those channels that played all the old shows. Like what's the one that was it the one that was like moving on up to the east side? What was it? The Jeffersons or
Oh,
something?
you're
like
talking
that?
about the Jeffersons, yeah. No,
And then what was the
no.
one about the father and son that work in like a junkyard?
Oh yeah, Sanford and Son. Oh,
Yep.
Sanford and Son. Now
Those are
that
good shows. And
I
they're-
used to watch
Sanford
the
and
heck out
Son
of.
was a show that took the whole like racism thing and like, yeah, racism's a part of life. Deal with it.
Well, it also it's like it kind of turned certain things on its head because Fred himself, I loved how Red Fox portrayed, because of course Red Fox was really not like Fred Sanford at all. Fred Sanford is just this kind of nice old grandfatherly type who has a
Yeah.
few attitudes. Like he doesn't like Mexicans, for instance.
Yeah.
I just went on to Google and just said black family shows, and for the iconic and classic black family sitcoms, we got The Cosby Show, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Family Matters, The Jeffersons, Good Time.
Yeah, I mean
The Bernie Mac
that
Show.
stuff was fine, and it got lots of viewership. So that's all just bullshit.
Well, like,
Whenever you see,
the thing I remember most about Sanford and Sons is the fact that they would actually have the character in Sanford and Sons sit down and talk to a Mexican about why he hated Mexicans, and the Mexican's like, yeah, 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 yeah. I know, I know, I know. I'm
It's
not
like they were
personally trying to
predicting
cause
something.
problems, but I get why you hate other Mexicans.
Uh,
No, it was funny. And, the reality is, and, you look back on it, liberals were able to control entertainment because they didn't overdo it. When they started going crazy is when they started losing cultural dominance and cultural relevance, as people realized their politics were bullshit and that
Well,
none of the things they said were actually true. And you started the rise of the internet and of alternative platforms gave people a chance to connect and say, oh, yeah, you're right. This is BS.
as someone who's been a Trekkie for 30 years, seeing the modern day wannabe Trekkies or neo Trekkies or whatever you want to call them, be like, "Oh, Star Trek was always woke." No, it
It was
wasn't,
never woke. It
because of
was
the fact that
it
the
was
people back
liberal.
then
It was never woke.
the people back then had the idea that, is that some things are actually a bridge too far, and you guys are jumping off that bridge. And that is the basic difference here is that the stuff that they're trying to do with the modern stuff that is just like off the deep and stupid, they
I think
didn't
what
do in the older ones because of the fact that it was bad storytelling. I mean, like
Yeah.
that's like with Starfleet Academy. It's like the problem with Starfleet Academy is that the quality of the storytelling is not actually very good at all. It's like,
I think what a lot of people get really confused on, and it's probably due to the fact that, especially thanks to the advent of the internet and social media, and I guess just practicing ideological weaponization of words, we've watered down the term woke so much that people now don't really know the difference between woke and just something having a message that can relate to anti-racism or being more tolerant of XYZ thing, because they are fundamentally different. Just because something is well, not preaching, because something is making a message of tolerance doesn't necessitate the fact that it's woke. What makes something woke is when you like just very obviously do the messaging from a very ideological like preaching standpoint at the cost of quality of the product and at the cost of respecting the consumer.
I actually have a major issue with that. See, the problem
Mhm,
with that entire line of discussion that you had there is that
mhm.
there is no real definition for woke because of the fact that it is a slang term, and
Yeah. Well, I mean,
basically everyone who uses it kind of sort of makes up their own definition, and there is no real definition, which is part of the problem with having a serious discussion with it, is that you have all of these people using the word differently and just don't really pay attention to the fact that everyone is using it differently. Because like the whole thing is like, oh, Star Trek was woke. No, Star Trek liked to push cultural boundaries in the old days because of the fact that it got them ratings. That was
yeah.
actually the main reason, is that it would get them ratings. If they didn't do the cultural boundary poking, it would have no cultural relevance.
Yeah.
but yeah, and then what another thing happened yesterday was and I don't know if you all, some of y'all may have seen this conversation or not, if you were following me on X or not, but I got into an argue. Unfortunately, I got into this giant argument with she's actually, I'm not gonna say her name because we have since made up since then. She's apologized to me, and I apologized to her for if I came off too harsh. But I won't apologize for what I said though. It was just for if I came off harsh or not. But because she was kind of like on the bandwagon of all like that we need this kind of thing. And the problem that really kind of set me off with it was the language she started using was like, because she started saying like, you have tied us down for too long, you have held us back, and I'm like, I didn't own a slave. You were never a fucking slave. So don't try to say this
Precisely.
is you and me bullshits.
So some of
when
my ancestors owned slaves, but the slaves they owned were Irishmen, not black people.
yeah,
I'm sure that some of my ancestors were slaves if you go back far enough, and probably some of my ancestors were slave
I
owners.
mean,
It depends on how
yeah,
far back you go.
but that's irrelevant in my opinion to this.
Yeah, it
Well,
is. I mean, that's the whole point. Everybody was slaves and slave owners. You know who black people who were descended from slaves, and not all, should be complaining about? The black people who sold their ancestors.
yeah, exactly.
The
Black,
ones that conquered their tribes and then sold them off for pennies on
You
the
know,
dollar. To
go
build,
go to
to build the
northern
Europeans and
Nigeria
the
and try to get your
Arabic.
reparations there, because they're the ones who made you slaves to begin with.
And then they do things like making that Woman King movie
Oh
about
god,
Oh
the
my
woman who
God.
sold an entire generation into slavery and
And
tried to make
women
her out as
king
a
are
hero.
called queens. The woman king. It was retarded even in the title.
yeah. So, but
Oh,
yeah, but I started talking to her. I was trying to tell her like how hard it was for her to try to feel like hey, saying black people need their own award shows was no different than saying black people need their own restrooms or should have their own space on the bus or to even have their own freaking water fountain. And
yeah, that's true.
I
And
mean,
then
it's,
I
it's
was
like
like,
the same. It's like the same argument where now the politically correct term to call racial minorities is people of color, even though functionally it's no different than colored person. But
yeah.
that one's
So
offensive.
and also the one thing I had to try to explain to her was, does anyone remember from the 90s, starting from maybe like the early 90s up until Obama got into office, does anyone remember having any racial issues happening throughout this country?
Obama had his presidential campaign based on racial grifting. He's the
Exactly.
first person in
Yeah.
U.S. history to build a presidential campaign on racial grifting. And
Yeah,
when
accusing
you
the other side of
actually
racism.
look it up, he's actually not the first black president.
Oh, really?
That's the part about it that gets really screwball is so he goes like, okay, when you look at it from the like one drop rule anyways, because like none of the other ones identified as black. But like some of the previous presidents we had were people who weren't actually white guys. People want to say that like, oh, he was the first president who wasn't a white. No, he wasn't. It's
Well,
like
I mean, oh,
some of the previous ones were of mixed race, and at least one of them was actually like part black. When Obama has a white mother anyway, so
Yeah, but
well, I mean,
freaking
it's the thing with Obama is that he brought the Chicago way to the national stage. The South Side of Chicago has been doing this black racist grifting stuff for a long time. That's why Jesse Jackson operated Operation Rainbow and Push out of South Side of Chicago. That was where all that crap was headquartered.
yeah, but
And
anyways,
Chicago was ground zero.
So I just Googled if there were any other black presidents of the United States, and it sent me to a subreddit, which then had this link of there apparently was like 7 black presidents before Barack Obama. And we got
that's not true at all.
well, apparently a lot of this stuff is because they're either Moorish or because they were, or it's because they're like half ancestry.
Yeah, but again, none of that's relevant to what I was trying to get to at this moment because again, I'm not I'm not saying that there was no racism at all during the 90s to the early 2000s, but does anyone remember like a prominent racial event that happened during that time?
Not really, because there really
The only thing
wasn't.
the only thing I can think of that was like close at that time what is like the LA riots, but that's before the 90s.
I was about to say we had black people rioting. We had black people attacking white people.
Okay,
If there was
so
any racism, it was black people being racist.
if we're talking about the Rodney King riots, I think that was been brought up.
I think Rodney King was before the 90s, wasn't it?
No, it was in the
No.
90s.
It was in the 90s, but Rodney King was not a victim of racism. Rodney King was a victim of being a drunk idiot who attacked police officers and got beat up doing it.
But
Oh yeah, the
and
1992
also
LA riots.
the Rodney King riots were also about like gang warfare. It had nothing to do with Rodney King.
Yeah.
It's just that Because of the fact that they were civil unrest at the time, the gang saw it as an opportunity to do their gang warfare stuff without getting shot by the police.
Which is
Yeah.
hilarious because you hear a lot about the Bloods and the Crips, but the largest gangs in LA right now are Mexican gangs, Hispanic gangs. They're much larger. They're much larger, and they're cartel linked.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Irony,
Mhm.
irony.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing: a lot of the Mexican gangs are actually connected to the cartels.
Yep.
Mm.
But in the Rodney King riots, that was actually one of the things that was happening is that the Mexican gangs were trying to kill off anyone who wasn't a Mexican gang.
Right. Yeah, it would be really, really great for us to drop a few bombs on the other side of the border and eliminate that problem. I'm just saying, it's like,
Yeah, the
we
only
don't
thing
need
I
their
was thinking
fentanyl.
about, only other thing I could think of too was like, wasn't even really racially motivated, but it's the OJ trials.
Yeah, that showcased a lot of racial grifters.
And you had racism on the jury. I mean, we had the jurist who came out years later, and we saw quotes from her just a few weeks ago that, yeah, they knew that he was guilty, and they found him not guilty for racial justice reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, seriously, you've just admitted that you let a murderer off because you hate white people.
And also, this is in the whole abomination in the eyes of God category, because like you want to sit in judgment and do what you intentionally know is the wrong thing. You've earned your seats. Bye.
When when you could technically classify the KKK as less racial focus because they chose to not lynch a black man and killed a Jewish guy because he was the one that raped and murdered a girl.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Which
I mean,
became the foundation of the ADL.
exactly. The ADL is complete crap, but because the guy was guilty, and in fact, the only reason he got off is because I think the governor pardoned him. But the reason why
Yeah.
the governor did that is because he was getting contacted by out-of-state Jewish organizations who basically were offering him money. So essentially, they bought his way out. That's why he got lynched. Lynching was 90% of the time not about simple racial hatred. Lynching was about a legitimate fear that justice would not be done. If you go back and look at it, there were many cases of that, and it was a community outrage against failures in the judicial system. What we see happening now, where that's happening again, they're literally inviting lynching to come back. If you don't want night riders, just do justice. If you don't do justice, there will be night riders. It will happen. Vigilantism happened in San Francisco because the law was corrupt. If you don't want vigilantism, don't corrupt the law.
It's where the rooftop Koreans thing came from. Is that
exactly
you have the people who are like, okay, I know that guy is a violent gang member and he's on my turf, and I want him to no longer be on my turf.
I actually follow one of the roof Koreans on Twitter. He's a super based guy.
What was that the Tony Moon? Isn't that his
Yeah,
name?
yeah, Tony Moon.
Yeah, I know he's been on. I think he's been on the Timcast show, but a couple times, I think, and that was really cool to listen to.
And, I love Tony Moon. Anytime I see him cross my timeline, I feel fantastic.
Yeah, but so kind of to wrap this part up, but go to the next topic is there shouldn't be anything segregated. Everyone should be allowed to have their own shows. If you want to see more of your own kind of people, like in the main award shows, there's only 2 words: get good.
And actually,
there you go.
Like vote. Don't just get mad because the person you like didn't get like a nomination or anything. Actually vote. It's like when people get upset when like a woke TV show gets canceled because literally nobody was watching it.
Yeah, and then if we're gonna go back to having segregated and black people want their own spaces, then they have no reason to be mad when white people start doing the same thing for their own spaces.
Exactly.
You can't have your cake and eat it too. But anyways, kind of going towards the end on the next big topic that has been taking over this week is the Discord fiasco of a photo ID or face recognition, basically. And then the biggest issue I'm having with this overall is people saying we're going to find somewhere else. Is that there is no competitor for Discord right now. There's things that act like they could be that could sorry. There are things out there that kind of work like Discord, but they are nowhere near to the excellence that Discord currently has at the moment. Discord does almost anything that people would want. The fact that people would leave for some subpar platforms is what I think is kind of ridiculous about the whole situation. Is everyone overreacting about it?
I mean, you can definitely find chat apps. There's plenty of them. I think people still use what's it called, TeamSpeak. I believe that's still a thing.
Yep.
But it's like,
Yeah, that's an old one.
but it's like yeah, but there's like no chat app that's like as convenient to like make communities as Discord, nor is there any that could do streaming like Discord.
I mean, of course, to be fair, a lot of people don't like Discord streaming. So they end up using something like what we're using, right? We're using an entirely different app for streaming right now. So, yeah,
I've actually managed to isolate my computer's issues that have been causing my computer to blue screen of death, and have figured out that it's only when Discord is doing things. So whatever's causing my computer to blue screen of death is
Discord
in
related.
Discord. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's something in Discord doing it.
But it's like Stoat. Stoat is an alternative to Discord if necessary. In fact, I think you can almost transfer directly over to Stoat using your Discord information. So you can move you move your server to Stoat if you need to, or have Stoat as a backup. There's actually a couple of different ones out there. The thing is, voice chat and voice video streaming is expensive. It requires a lot of computing resources. Chat itself is much easier.
Yeah.
But video streaming requires a lot of resources. And that's why I think Discord has tended to not have a lot of competitors. But the reality is you don't have to use the same tool for both. You could separate them. You could have your voice channels on something like Zoom or, Microsoft Teams, as terrible as that may sound. But yes, I mean, you can do it. You can do it on.
Like now, you can also just make group chats in Twitter now.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I'm kind of surprised that Elon hasn't moved more in that direction, because he already has the equipment. He could very easily move into Discord space.
I think it's actually a matter of knowing how much a server farm he would need to make it work. Also, one of the things that came out in the Twitter files was the fact that prior to Elon buying it, Twitter was actually a giant money pit. And I have to wonder if the same is true of Discord. Is Discord actually making money?
That's a very good question.
It was with the
That is
Nitro subscriptions, but people have now been canceling those left and right because of this update.
Well, like I know that Twitter has, Discord has methods of getting money from people, but the question is whether or not it's actually spending more money than it gets from that.
I personally think the balkanization of the internet is inevitable. I mean, there's many companies that are going to have to get used to the idea that their primary market is the U.S. and that they are protected against bullshit by that fact.
Well,
instead of chasing money in some country somewhere that says you have to censor this or age confirm that in order to operate. It's just stupid.
We already have a lot of that already, because the fact that there's things that are, like social media platforms exclusive to China. Like the whole like Twitter thing, Elon buying Twitter, like caused a whole bunch of people in the US to jump to a social media platform that's run by the CCP.
Which was moronic.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Although apparently that's not really the case anymore, because they've been forced to move all their servers over here and put them under US control. But yeah.
But even so, though, it's like the Chinese people who like normally use that for daily communication found it to be incredibly bizarre to suddenly have a whole bunch of English speaking people who don't speak Chinese trying to use it to communicate with people, and also doing it in the standard, like Twitter cancellation thing, and doing that in trying to do that to Chinese people. And they were just like, no, how about you just stop talking?
Well,
And,
and then
and
there's the failed echo chambers like Blue Pedo,
yeah, well,
hard,
like
hardly
I was
Blue
thinking,
Sky.
yeah, I was thinking like as like has anyone like heard anything about Blue Sky like at all recently?
Okay, so
Nope.
Blue Sky had this thing relatively recently where it like canceled in several regions because of the fact that it needed to have some method of ensuring that only people who are over 18 are able to see explicit content on their platform, that they had to come up with a solution of verifying that all of the people who are able to see explicit content on their platform are over 18. So they blocked themselves in all of those regions until they came up with something. And I genuinely have no idea what they came up with because I didn't actually do anything to regain the ability to post random nonsense on Blue Sky. I just like one day it went back to working and I have no idea what it was or why.
I basically have a fake account that I use on there just to kind of keep up with some stuff, but that's
I
it.
I
I
mean, the
never
only
did
reason
a
I
Blue
have a
Sky
Blue
account.
Sky account is like I will post on Twitter things like when I post YouTube videos, like, hey, I posted a YouTube video, maybe you want to come watch it. I just do the same thing on Blue Sky, and that's literally the only reason I have a Blue Sky account.
I was on Mines for a bit. Mines was pretty all right.
There was another one called Mastodon, which I think still exists, but it's kind of the same thing. It's a meaningless echo chamber.
See, the
Yeah.
thing with Mastodon is that it's not actually a meaningless echo chamber as a whole. Mastodon's thing is that it's pre-balkanized, where they haven't gotten to the stage of even having the level of coherency that you would need for balkanization. It's more like a feudal system where every like, because like Mastodon, like, has, like, a decentralized structure where you have, like, your own Mastodon server or something, kind of like the way there's, like, Discord things, but, like, Mastodon apparently is more like that than I don't know. I never actually, like, seriously went into looking it up. Was like that was the main issue people were having with Mastodon is that it's actually not something where you can just, like, post something and, like, have everyone in the world maybe possibly look at it if they feel like it.
So it's less like actual mass social media and just more like group
Chat bots, chat
yeah,
servers,
yeah, it's more
Yeah.
like a chat server.
old fashioned IRC.
I mean, I was on Gilded for a while only because that's where DM Blackwell was doing his Horde Wars gaming on that we would play, and then then we got the news in December that, well, it was before December that they were going to shut down the whole thing in December, and then some people like ended up not even doing anything else on that because we were on Gilded before Roblox took hold of them, and then it got shut down. But even then, Gilded just couldn't do what Discord could. That was the other big issue.
Mm. As in the everything's just crazy because like everything nowadays is starting to require a ID or some sort of biometric just to be able to use. And we all know the only reason why they do that is so they can sell data.
Well,
Yeah.
actually, no. Selling data is the relatively benign aspect. Is that also part of going in with this is the idea that people want to control the internet. The internet being something uncontrolled and wild west sort of thing.
I,
That scares the governments who want to tell you what you're allowed to do.
I don't know how anyone thinks they can control a series of tubes. Just a series of tubes, man.
Well, I mean, that's the whole thing of, like, requiring, biometrics and all that stuff to be able to access it, is that that gives them an avenue where they could turn off your ability to access it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not planning on leaving Discord. I don't think I'm going to join anywhere else, even if other places I know. But it's causing people now on Discord to like remove parts of their servers, so that way that way people don't have to worry about trying to do stuff to access certain things, which I think is stupid too. I think if you're going to have your server on Discord, keep it all on there. Don't try to work around it and shit. But
Yeah, because isn't
anyways,
it like the only thing where you're only required to do the biometrics and ID if you're in an 18 plus server?
Actually,
Or a server that has
I
18
genuinely have
material.
no idea what their methodology for this even is because of the fact that like they said that not everyone is going to have to do that and that it's going to be primarily for new accounts. But they haven't actually said how they're going to decide whether previously existing accounts qualify or not.
Logically, if you have a Nitro account, they shouldn't be doing it at all because they already have your payment information and know exactly who you are.
Can you imagine getting grandfathered into a social app because you made an account before they required ID?
yeah, I mean that's how it should be, in my opinion.
Sounds pretty cool, actually.
But anyways, the final topic we have for today. Now we're going to go into politics. The Save America Act was passed in the House 2 days ago, and I actually have there is an updated version of the numbers I originally saw before. The totals were 218 for yay, 213 for nay, and one person didn't vote. So originally when I saw this, it was like 216 to 215. There was like a one vote difference between yes and yay and nay. And there was one Republican at the time that voted nay. And it was apparently confirmed that Thomas Massey was the nay Republican vote. So
That faggot.
So either he changed it to yay because of all the backlash, or he just chose not to vote instead. He retracted his vote.
I know what they say is in the act, but do we actually know what's actually within the act itself on paper?
Yeah, we do. They have it.
I don't know all the details. All I know is that this was the main act that finally is going to get voter registration to be more enforced.
Well,
or photo ID verification for voter registration.
I mean, even Susan Collins has finally co-signed on the act. She has no excuse. She says it's a very simple act. There's no reason to oppose it. If Susan Collins, who is almost never a reliable vote for anything Republican anymore, is co-signing the bill, there's absolutely nothing harmful in it. It's just doing what it says.
And of course, all the Democrats voted nay. Most of the Republicans voted yay, and then one Democrat voted yay. And I believe it's been confirmed to be the guy that had the stroke was the one that voted yay. Yeah, Fetterman.
Yeah. The stroke guy made him smarter. That guy has basically gotten just like. I honestly think he had a stroke because of just how over the top people have been hassling him to. Because he's one of those people who is a Democrat who they're trying to force him to toe the party line, and he's like, "I'm standing on principle."
Again, he's a liberal from 20 years ago.
Yeah,
so he's not conservative by any means. He's a liberal from 20 years ago. That's how far the Overman window has shifted to the left in the Democratic Party.
Again, it's just interesting how the Democrat with brain damage is the one that's actually reasonable and logical.
Yeah. Hey, Johnny.
Hey,
Johnny.
You just not waking up?
No. I've been watching y'all, and I tried to get my other mic to work. It absolutely wouldn't work. But hey, I didn't want to disrupt things, but I will say that first no vote by Thomas Massey was to bring it to the floor, not for the bill itself. And that bill, that part had this thing that makes it easier to put spending bills onto the floor with no notice. So that original vote, every Republican should have voted no on that. They still could vote on the bill. They just want to make it easier to spend money. And this is why the SAVE Act, which I have mixed feelings about ID. I was listening, I very much have mixed feelings about digital ID. I don't like the fact that the feds have any IDs at all. They don't have that power, and they shouldn't have that power. I'd rather have the inconvenience. But the thing that the SAVE Act will not save, it will not save America, because both of these parties are devoted to expanding the debt, and they're devoted to keeping the monetary inflation going. And do I think
the
it's
mechanism
probably,
the mechanism that creates that, is widespread fraud that allows people who are supported by government corruption to buy the vote and to get people in office who will vote their way.
Anyway,
okay? Yeah, I actually
if you want to
I
read it,
disagree.
I posted a link.
Holy shit! This bill is actually short as hell.
It's a very short bill.
I think
very
they,
straightforward.
I believe there was rumors that they were attempting to try not to shove so much junk into these bills. I believe they were actively trying to attempt to not make these overbloated bills.
Oh, we're no longer have 200-page bills with like 5 million freaking clauses within it, and even though it's only named after one specific big name item.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's been a meme since the 90s that some of the bills that got passed were longer than novels because of the fact that they have like pages and pages and pages of things that are just like tacked on for no good reason. And the only reason those things get tacked on is because they know that if someone actually had to vote on it, no one would vote for it because it's either an edge case thing that no one else actually cares about, and a lot of it is pork barrel spending. So,
Yeah, it's
So
why
all the
when
Save
the
America Act does is it amends two previous laws. So there's a National Voter Registration Act in 1993 and the Help America Vote Act of 2002. So it basically does two solid things, and it's very straightforward. It demands documentary proof of U.S. citizenship for voter registration and a photo ID requirement for voting. Now, all it really means, like with documentary proof, it's like driver's license stuff. You may not accept or process a federal voter registration. See, this doesn't affect the states. It affects federal elections, which is in the Constitution, by the way. So you have to have documentary proof of U.S. citizenship. So easiest way is to have a real ID. Most states are supposed to have real ID compliant driver's license now. Or if you don't drive, what they call a non-driver's ID. Every state has that as well. Or you can have a valid U.S. passport, a military ID with a U.S. birth record, any government-issued photo ID that shows U.S. birth, or a qualifying photo ID paired with a certified birth certificate, naturalization certificate, blah, blah, blah. There's plenty of ways to validate this.
What
once
a
you're
social security card
validated-
also work?
What?
Wouldn't a social security card also work?
Well, they issue social security cards to non-citizens.
Okay.
So
That is
that
true.
by itself would not work. You just need proof of U.S. citizenship, and they provide numerous ways to do that. And they require the states to create an alternative process for those lacking documents. They don't say you can't vote, but you have to do something like an affidavit under penalty of perjury and additional evidence. If for some reason, who can't? If you're born abroad, you're supposed to have a consular report of your birth abroad, or the military recorded your birth abroad, right? Or you have a U.S. birth certificate.
Tell you what, I'll just read you off what I looked up in the local elections, how that's handled here.
I was going to mention as well, part of the reason why the Green New Deal was not passed, why people voted no on that multiple times, was because of all the extra junk that
writers
that was discovered in the book and in that deal
floated
that
with
we didn't know about.
Anyways, here. The rules that they have in my local municipality for voter ID. Do not ask for a specific form of ID. If the voter shows an Arkansas driver's license, ask the voter if you can scan their driver's license to go straight to the voter information thing. Search for the voter by entering last and first name to see if they don't have a driver's license in order to verify that they are registered as a voter. All voters must complete this process even if you know them. If the voter is a resident of a long-term or residential care facility, you can provide that documentation as a form of ID. See page 29 for a list of acceptable photo IDs.
And also the states have to use the DHS's SAVE system. So this allows you to check and make sure you're purging non-citizens from the rolls. It's very easy to use. It already exists. There's no cost to the states to do it. There's no reason for them not to, except to leave hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of people on the rolls who shouldn't be there, and they know they shouldn't be there. So there's that aspect. There's the documentary proof of U.S. citizenship for voter registration, and then there's the valid photo ID to vote. And we already do that in North Carolina.
Yeah, like
We already,
I
you know,
well,
I mean, I have a
actually,
state-issued license. Come on.
Most states actually do that. It's just that certain specific states who are fond of illegal immigrants want to let illegal immigrants vote.
Well,
And
because the politicians depend on their corruption in order to, and corrupting the ballot. I can guarantee you that there are states and there are cities where Democrats would not be as in control as much as they are
okay,
if they weren't able to cheat.
you've heard that argument where like they don't want to have voter ID because the fact that it would disenfranchise sections of the population who have difficulty getting ID. Yeah, whatever. Here,
Who is that?
I'm going to read
Who
off.
is that?
I'm going to read off the list of things that are actually considered a valid ID in my municipality to give you an example of why I personally think that argument is bullshit. Arkansas driver's license, a concealed carry handgun license, a U.S. passport, a U.S. military ID document, a student or an employee ID card issued by a post-secondary educational institution, a public assistance ID card with photo, or a voter ID card with photo issued county clerk, or as previously mentioned, a documentation from a nursing home. If you don't have any of those things, you're basically told that you're not allowed to do anything in the county anyways, because of the fact that like anything you want to do that requires any sort of ID will ask you for one of those.
Yeah, the ID
But-
thing has
but
always
also-
been BS. Ground level, trench level. There's homeless people who have IDs. People who are in Section 8 provide IDs regularly. It's always been bullshit. It's a lot like food deserts. I don't know if they did food desert bullshit where y'all live, but they tried food deserts, and they'll pick, for instance, here in Houston, they kind of centered it up in UH. And I'm like, man, I'm working in Third Ward. I can drive down to the HEB easy. It's right there. But they would pick areas so that they could say, oh, there's no grocery stores here. Yeah, man, that's a massive campus. Of course, you don't have it. But to the north is Kroger, and to the south is HEB. When we had another couple little stores. They make these arguments. They don't back them up. But in the end, what's going to happen? You're just going to get different profligate spenders in office. They're going to mostly be Republican. Now, me personally, day to day, probably better off with Republicans in control. But that's my day to day life. That's just so that
As I've said about Donald Trump several times, like it's not a matter of whether they are doing the right thing 100% of the time. It's a matter if they're less bad than the other guy. It's like,
he's
quite frankly,
marginally less bad, but the problem is they're leaving everything intact. So as soon as Trump is a big government Democrat. He's got some of his he doesn't care about hiding his prejudices. I know a lot of people that are big government Democrats, and they pay lip service. Most of them pay lip service to all the, racial equality. They pretend to care about that. They don't really. They're really, pretty much like him.
they know
But
it's
he
a
doesn't
grip.
care. He just speaks it. But he's leaving everything intact. Our monetary system is continuing on the same trajectory. And that's just, if you don't dismantle some of these things, if you don't dismantle the ATF, next guy that gets in, and I'm picking the least controversial one that I want to dismantle, the Department of Education. Oh yeah, we're going to dismantle it. They're giving it more money.
Well, Congress is
the
giving it
problem.
more money.
He is giving it more money. I actually budgeted more money to the Department of Education in the last spending bill.
So
the NDAA
here
is set
again,
record level.
USAID, perfect example. USAID was dismantled. So it's not that nothing is happening. It's that things are happening, but they're not all happening at once.
Yeah,
It's
like
not happening fast
people
enough.
the people who were appalled at USAID being dismantled are the people who don't know what it was for or what it did. They think it was for charitable causes, but the charities were lies told by the CIA
Yeah.
to deceive foreigners into
Chelsea Clinton paying for her wedding
And
out of
also-
USAID money.
It was also a huge money laundering scam too.
They didn't need the Clinton Foundation. They had USAID.
What are the
Who the fuck is going to spend $750,000 to send condoms to Nigeria? What the fuck are we
Well,
doing?
because like it's the sort of thing that got made fun of in the Men in Black movies. Like, where do you wait? No, sorry, not Men in Black. Independence Day. It's like,
Yeah,
do you really think that the U.S. military actually spent $750 buying hammers? No. They're not going to spend $750 on per hammer. That's something they write into the budget to hide what they're actually doing with the money. And like the USA thing is like, we legitimately do not know where a lot of that money actually went because of the fact that all that existed in terms of documentation in actual practicality is like, this is what this particular USAID cause has as their stated goal. And on paper, this is the amount of money they were given to achieve that goal. Where the money went after that is completely undocumented.
Well, wasn't it like a huge thing when Zelensky during the early parts of the Ukraine-Russian war came out and said that in response to U.S. U.S. congressmen saying, "Oh, we sent $5 billion to the Ukraine war effort," and Zelensky was like, "I only account for $2 billion." Where the other three went?
Yeah, that was a thing that they buried as soon as they could in the mainstream media because of the fact that having Zelensky question you on your Ukraine spending is super
Bad.
And of course, he and his little cabal there in the Ukraine have been stealing it anyway. They're stealing it too.
But like
and then kidnapping people off the streets.
But
fight in a war they don't want to fight.
But then you have like Zelensky is like, yeah, he's skimming off the money, but he's like, wait a second, someone else is skimming off the money before it even gets to me. And the fact that he actually called them out on that is hilarious.
This is the thing. USAID isn't really dismantled. USAID has been shifted into the State Department. So USAID still exists. They're just going to move it to black operations. They're going to move it to black money, which is, primarily what Epstein was allowed to get away with some of his stuff for. He knew how to funnel money around. There's a very good podcast about it, Provoked, with Scott Horton. They go through it about that. I learned more about the Epstein stuff from that than I've learned just from the memes. Memes are an important thing, but this is the other thing. NDAA, the latest NDAA, they're still funding Ukraine. There's 400 million is the latest that I saw. Not a ton of money, but more money will be going to them. This is, it's been a proxy war from the start, and now we're moving into the feds are moving in to attack Iran, and that's going to be a losing battle yet again. So, yeah, they've shifted things. It's kind of like I would liken what they're doing to what happened in Syria when I believe Trump is, not really a pro-war guy. He is kind of this go-round, but, everybody caves eventually. When he tried to move the troops out of Syria, they didn't move out of Syria. They shifted them around. Part of that was because he had no idea what he was doing. He'd appointed so many chicken hawks to his cabinet that he had virtually no control. They're making fun of him last time because, we didn't actually move the troops out of Syria. Now they've put an Al-Qaeda leader in charge of Syria. Now they're going to go into Iran, and we're probably going to get somebody that's even worse. Down the road, we're getting up with another Saddam Hussein like they did with Iraq.
I think that
they're changing things.
I think
that they are changing things.
I think
so. The federal bureaucracy has been shrunk by 10%, right? That's like 350,000 people.
Yeah, but spending has gone up.
But they've
So-
cut
So
$215
that's
billion
not, you know,
in
having a few
corruption.
people.
All right, hold
No,
up, guys. Guys, Marhawk was
Supposedly.
trying to say something before he got talked over, so let him speak for a
Sure.
second.
I think that what you're saying about like Trump doesn't know how to do this, that, or the other is part of the reason why he is deferring to Bibi Netanyahu in terms of uh, understanding what's going on in the Middle East. Is because Netanyahu, it's his career to understand Middle Eastern politics, and thus he knows things about Middle Eastern politics that no one in the U.S. has even thought of. So, that's probably why Trump works so closely with him.
Yeah, Netanyahu knows what's good for his power. He's no different than any other politician. He knows what's good for his power. He definitely is good at that. He's maintained it for long, but it's not good for U.S. power. It's not good for us in the United States. We're racking up debt, and we've created Al Qaeda numbered a few hundred fighters in Afghanistan in 2001. They're over 10,000 still now. The global war on terror increased the power of Al Qaeda.
Actually,
He doesn't care about that. Yeah, now they're running a country. They're running Syria. We're fighting on their side in Yemen, fought on their side in Syria, fought on their side in Libya, fought on their side partially in Iraq. It's been an abject failure from their stated goals. But that's because their stated goals are not their real goals.
The
Who's they?
The Al Qaeda situation is
Covering you're covering a lot of people with they there, and they're not all the same people. Who's they?
Yeah, they is, well, it's a general term, admittedly. They is FedGov.
The Al Qaeda situation,
God, his name went right out of my head. The Mickey Mat as it's out of my head.
How about you think about that while I talk? Okay. Anyways, the Al Qaeda situation is something that's kind of complicated because of the fact that they are basically a proxy organization, and the level of funding they have is not whether or not Al Qaeda itself is actually, a successful organization. It's about how much the people funding them want them to cause chaos. And like the global war on terror gave the people funding Al Qaeda a reason to ramp it up. And like they weren't interested in peace in the first place.
Yeah, Al Qaeda's actual intent with the 9/11 attacks was to draw the U.S. into a war in Afghanistan and bankrupt them. It worked. What the U.S. how it should have been responded to is they should have just treated it just like what it was. It was a criminal organization at the time that wasn't terribly large. You issue letters of marque and reprisal. You handle it that way. Instead, they invaded and attacked the Taliban, who weren't Al Qaeda, and they focused on the Taliban. They didn't focus as much on Al Qaeda, and that was contrary to the wishes of people on the ground. But it is what it is. Then they invaded Iraq, which also wasn't friendly with Al Qaeda. Lied about Iraq being friendly with Al Qaeda. Lied to us about it. I bought it all at the time. And then, as for the people who were funding Al Qaeda, Saudi Arabia, who the U.S. decided to fight on the side, who the U.S. decided to aid in the war against Yemen, when before, and admittedly, there's plenty of switching sides at ground level. When before the Houthi government that just rebelled against a U.S. Saudi installed government in Yemen that was never going to succeed, kind of like the government in Afghanistan that folded immediately.
How in the world do we get from photo identification to war on terror? How the hell do we get down this rabbit hole?
It's all related because that's
debatable, but
it's on the same planet. Of course,
hey, I stopped. It's your table, brother.
Well, I mean, this came from the SAVE Act.
Oh,
it's the minute you start talking about it can cover a lot of territory.
Jesus, it's like. I mean, I'll still take the win on photo ID at least for the time being.
The SAVE Act is a good thing. And the reality is that it will. We have to think about where we started and where we're at now. Every change is resisted, and the depth of the resistance shows that change is happening. This is the reality. So the Save America Act, it's going to be tough. We still haven't got it in the Senate. There's no question about it. It's tough. But once we have that, and only American citizens are voting, we get, for the first time probably in decades, we get to see what the real political choices of American people are. Right now, a lot of this is obscured. We don't even know what the American people want the money that the government collects spent on right now, because there's so much fraud that favors organizations that benefited from the fraud. It just became a big money laundering machine. That's not a situation Trump created. That's a situation that he's been overturning the apple cart.
Well, that's
That's
the
why they
other
tried
thing.
to kill him, for God's sake.
But well, see, that's the thing with the Minnesota stuff. That's like super incriminating, is when you actually look at how long it's been going on. Because like it was going on before they started importing Somalis. They started importing Somalis because they wanted to, increase the scope of their operations, and they needed manpower.
hmm
Like, so like it's not really a Somali fraud. It's Somalis being employed as part of
Yeah.
fraud.
I'm just trying to make sure that we're not going too crazy, because I want everyone to talk, but then it's like it's been like the majority. It's been OSR Dwarf and Johnny just talking back and forth the entire time, and I want everyone to have. I want everyone to be able to speak. That's why I've been trying to interrupt. I have to interrupt every now and then. Like, hey guys, there's not just two of us on the panel here, so
No, I feel you,
I'm
man.
not
It's your
mad
table,
at
bro.
anyone about it. I'm just saying.
It's okay to be mad at me.
We can we can go on a lot of. I feel
Yeah.
like every person here has like 5 different rabbit holes they like to go into.
Probably. I mean, we literally went into one with Discord earlier, and then the Black VTuber thing as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would need to get all to talk about all this stuff today, because it was just crazy, everything that happened like this past week. So next week, don't worry everyone, we should be getting back to our flushed out campaign next week. I will make sure that is a go. So
And
we'll have
that
to hear
will
us-
be awesome.
yeah.
But we also need a game where we kill gay race communists, because it would be fun.
Freaking just get this like space commies or whatever just suddenly appear.
I mean, was that not the Booty Pirates?
I mean, I wasn't thinking about it, but I guess maybe, who knows.
Anything that you can use a plunger in is good.
I mean, their flag did have an ass on it instead of a skull, so. All right.
Pretty gay commie to me.
Yep. So I think we're gonna wrap
It
it up
is silly
there.
fun, and silly fun is good sometimes.
It is. It definitely during this day and age, it's like it's good for us to just laugh and just have fun. All right, but I think I'm gonna wrap it up there for today. So, Duskwall, where can everyone find you at?
Hey, you can find me on x.com with my X account at @Duskwall_team. I also occasionally do stuff with the indie comic book multiverse project called the Mythoverse. You can find them on X at Mythoverse or on YouTube with the Mythoverse.
Right, Marhawk, man, where can we all find you at?
Most YouTube. Sometimes I stream on either Kick or Twitch, and of course I have Blue Sky and X if you want to look me up there.
Right, OSR Dwarf, where can everyone find you at?
As OSR Dwarf 2 on X, or on the Red Room Discord server, where I both play in and sometimes run games.
Right, Johnny, what cabin in the woods can we all find you at?
Oh God, I would never survive out in the woods. I am a city boy. Extremist content on YouTube, and then my game thing is Powerful Silence or the Alamo. And I'd like to do a shout out. There's a guy, Elite RPG, and when y'all were talking earlier about a lot of the back and forth race stuff, I think he's a good dude to listen to. He's older fella, pretty wise, and he handles it pretty well.
Are you talking about RPG Elite? Is that who you're referring
RPG
to?
Elite. Yeah, RPG Elite. I didn't know if any of y'all knew about him.
Oh no,
Yeah,
I follow him, and I'm in his he's got like an Element X, which is another one of those like chat room
Oh,
kind
cool.
of things. But he's a good dude. I've talked to him a bit.
Yeah, that's like a bunch of the guys that I grew up with. You sound just like him. Was just laid back and really thoughtful.
Yeah. And he's like he's an African American too, but he's like very based about like it's like when he does talk about races, he is very like on point, and he doesn't like try to use like his own race to like advantage like that or anything. So
Well,
Yeah,
he's like he's a grown man, and there's damn few of them these days. All the world over. I'm still trying.
I watched some of his videos, and his take on it is like he's very much the whole like MLK style of anti-racist thing. It's like the fact that you're separating people into white and black is part of the problem. How about you stop doing that?
yep.
I freaking love two things when it comes to the anti-racism stuff. It's again the MLK speech from the Boondocks. It's like, "Is this what I took all the mass whippings for?" And then you also have Morgan Freeman back in the early 2000s during an interview. He was like, "You want racism to end? Stop talking about it."
And as always, you can find me on X, YouTube, and Rumble under the Ultra Mega TTRPG at Ultra TTRPGER. I've been doing I have been doing this weekly solo short series just to kind of challenge myself a little bit. So you can go watch those shorts right now. The final one should be released sometime today. And I also dropped my third session of the Bordeaux Bastard solo game, which is my Mafia RPG I've been running last night. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it. I've been having fun with it. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us today on this rainy Saturday where I am, because it's downpouring outside where I am. So enjoy Valentine's Day, either with your loved one or by yourself. Don't forget to restock on lotion if you're doing that in that regard.
Oh,
Play games, roll some dice, have fun, and have a good weekend, everyone.
you all have a good one. And remember, always have fun.
Yes.